Alright, let's go over the first exercise, evaluate the expression for the given replacement values. So we're going to substitute x equals 8 and then substitute y equals 5 and then do the math and then figure out the best answer to respond to. So let's try, here we go. Okay, so 10, instead of x, I'm going to substitute 8 minus 12. Instead of y, I'm going to substitute 5. And all of this should be divided by 4. Okay, 8 times 10 is 80. And 5 times 12 is 60. And divided by 4. So 80 minus 60 is 20, and 20 divided by 4 is 5. So that's it. So 5 is the answer for the first one. Let's go to the next question. We need to add, and we have decimal numbers, so let's try to do this problem. So we have negative 1.8 plus square bracket 0.4. Now this plus minus, we can just do minus as if we are multiplying here. Plus times minus is minus 0.6 and then plus 0.3. Okay, now I want to go inside this square bracket. I have a subtraction, addition. They have the same priority, or we can do whichever first. So if I do 0.4 minus 0.6, that's negative 0.2, and then plus 0.3, that would be plus 0.1. So remember, when you have opposite sign, you subtract. And I subtracted 0.6 minus 0.4, I got 0.2, but then I had to use the minus sign because this is more negative than 0.4. I do the same here. I have 0.3 minus 0.2, that's 0.1. I use the plus option because 0.3 is more positive. I end up with negative 1.8 plus 0.1. These are opposite signs. We got to subtract, so let me go ahead and subtract. So that's a 7 and that's a 1. So 1.8 minus 0.1 is 1.7. Now I'm going to choose the negative sign because negative 1.8 is more negative than 0.1, and negative 1.7 is D. So again, making sure I did this right, I have 0.4 is positive, 0.3 is positive. I can use another option now. If I add these first, I get 0.7, and then subtract from 0.6, I get 0.1. So either way you do it, you're going to get the same thing because this is only addition and subtraction. So I got 0.1 and then negative 1.8 plus 0.1 is negative 1.7. Let's go to the next problem, which is number 3. Here we have to multiply, add, divide. So that's a good application. Let's see if we can do it. So if you want to multiply here, do you see that you can multiply straight across? 2 times 3, 6, 5 times 7, 35. Notice that we cannot simplify. There is 2, there is no 2 in the denominator. 3, there is no 3 in the denominator. So let's go ahead and multiply straight across. You get 6 over 35. And this is a plus symbol. Here we have to divide. Now how do we divide? We flip the second one, then multiply straight across. So let's just keep this inside parentheses for now. Multiply by 2 over 5. So anytime you want to divide fraction, you just multiply and flip. Okay, let's go ahead and finish this problem now. Let's finish the multiplication. Notice we cannot simplify 2. There is no 2, 1, whatever. So 2 times 1 is 2, and 3 times 5, 35. What's good, we have the same denominator, so we don't have to worry about the greatest common, lowest common denominator. So that would be 6 plus 2, 8 over 35. Remember, we don't add the numerator and the denominator. We just, if you have the same denominator, you just add the numerator. Now 8 and 35 has nothing in common, so you cannot simplify or reduce this fraction. So let's just keep it as 8 over 35. Now we don't have 8 over 35 here. Let's see what the problem is. Okay, so if I multiply this by 4, okay, it's not going to come out. If I multiply this by 5 times 8, 40. So if I multiply this by 8, all right, let's see what the problem here is. Okay, 1/3 divided by 5 over 2, that will bring it 2 over 5, so 2 over 15. Okay, that's the mistake. This is 3 times 5, 15. Okay, so that's why I couldn't get the right answer. Okay, so 3 times 5, 15. I get to find the common denominator now, so let me rewrite this over here again. 3 over 35 plus 2 over 15. Now, I have, this is 3 times 5, and this is 5 times 7. Notice we have 5 common factors, so we don't have to use the 5 twice, but we have to use the 3 and the 7. So 21 times 5 would be the lowest common denominator, and that would be 5 times 2, 10. That's 105. Okay, good. So now we have a lowest common denominator, 105. And to go from 35 to 105, we have to multiply by, let's see, 5 times 7, 3. Let's try 3. 3 times 5, 15. 3 times 3, 9, and 1, 10. So that's a 105. Multiplying this by 3, I'm going to multiply the numerator by 3. And that would be 18. Plus, going from 15 to 105, we got to multiply by 7. 7 times 5, 35. 7 times 1, 7, and 3, 10. So let's multiply the top by 7. 7 times 2, 14. Equals. So let's add 4 plus 8, 12. 1 plus 1, 2, and 1, 3. And that's 105. So 32 over 105, we got this answer, so we should be good now. Let's move to the next one, number 4. Here we have to solve the equation. Actually, there is only one variable a. We have to solve for that variable a. So let's try to do that problem. Let's see. Okay, so you have a over 4 minus 1 over 4 equals -3. Let's try to simplify the fractions. Simplify fractions. To do that, I'm going to use what is called the multiplication principle. I'm going to multiply everything by the lowest common denominator, which is 4. So let's multiply this by 4, this by 4, and this by 4. So if you multiply the first one by 4, that 4 will cancel, so you end up with a. Multiply this by 4, 4 over 4 is just 1. Multiply this by 4, you get -12. So we just need a now. All we have to do, add 1 to both sides. So we use the multiplication principle. We multiplied everything by 4. Now we're going to use the addition principle in order to move that -1 to the right side. Add 1 to both sides. So a is -11. Final answer. You can go back and check. Let's check. -11 over 4 minus 1 over 4. Having the same denominator, we can add the numerator. -12 over 4 is -3. And that's what we have. So that's good. So a equals -11 is the answer. Let's try number 5. Solve the equation. Okay, to solve this equation, we need to distribute, and then then we need to isolate the letter z. Okay, let's distribute. 4 times 2z is 8z. 4 times -5 is -20. 7 times z is 7z. And 7 times 3 is 21. So notice now we need to move the z to the left. We need to move -20 to the right. So if I move the 7z to the left, I need to subtract 7z from both sides. If I move negative 20 to the right, I need to add 20 to both sides. Now what's 8z minus 7z? That's a z. Negative 20 plus 20 will cancel. 7z minus z will cancel. 21 plus 20 is 41. Final answer. So C is the answer. Let's go to number 6. The circular graph below shows the number of pizzas consumed by college students in a typical month. Use the graph to answer the question. So notice the blue is 0.2%, the red is 41%, and they consume 3 to 4 pizza, 34%, 5 to 6 pizza, the yellow, 18%, and more than 7 pizzas is 5%, and that's this color violet here, or pink color. Anyway, if State University has approximately 48,000 students, about how many would you expect to consume 5 to 6 pizzas in a typical month? So 5 to 6 pizza, that's 18%, and then we have 48,000. So all we have to do, multiply 18% times 48,000. Now if you do that, you have to change the 18% to 0.18, because you can't multiply by percentage. So to solve this problem, we're looking at 0.18, which is equal to 18%. We're going to multiply 0.18 times 48,000. And of course, we can do this the long way. So let's do the long way. I can disregard this decimal first, multiply by 18. And then I can do 8 times 8, 64. 8 times 4, 32, 32, and 6 is 38. Then we do the same, 0, 0, 0. 1 times 8 is 8, 1 times 4 is 4. So the answer would be 8 times 8, 16, 6 carry 1, and 5 times 3, 8. But then we have 2 decimals, so let's remove those 2 zeros. 8,640 would be the answer. And that's coming from the 18%. Remember, we're looking at 5 to 6 pizzas. That's 18% of 48,000. That off will change to multiplication. 18% will change to 0.18. So 0.18 times 48,000 students is the answer. Let's try number 7. During an intramural basketball game, Team A scored 18 fewer points than Team B. That means less. Together, both teams scored a total of 148. How many points did Team A score during the game? Okay, so let's try to solve this problem here. Notice that fewer means less. So Team A, let's say Team A is A, and Team B is B. And so if Team A scored 18 fewer, then points. So B is the big guy, so A plus 18 equals B. So B is the big guy, so you have to add the 18 to A. But together, A plus B equals what? 148 points. Together they scored 148 points. So now all we have to do is, from here, we can subtract 18 from both sides. And this means A equals B minus 18. Replace this in the second equation for A. Instead of A, we're going to put B minus 18 and then add B. And then you get 148. Okay? So again, what I did here, I have A is smaller than B, therefore I have to add the 18 to A to equate to B. But I know that A plus B is 148. Now, if I solve for A here, I subtract 18 from both sides. I get A equals B minus 18. I take this A and substitute in the second equation. Instead of A, I'm going to put B minus 18, and then I have plus B equals 148. So notice now B plus B is 2B. Minus 18 equals 148. How do you move the negative 18 to the right? Add 18 to both sides. So now 2b, 8 plus 8, 16, carry 1, 2 plus 4, 6, and then 1. 166 and b times 2, but we need b, so let's divide both sides by 2, and then b would be 16 by 2 is 8, and 6 by 2 is 3. So they want us to find what, b or a. How many points did Team A score during the game? So Team A, remember, is the one with the less numbers, so Team A should be less by 18, so b minus 18. So let's subtract 18 to find Team A. So 8 minus 13, or 13 minus a is 5. 8 minus 2 is 6. Because 65 plus 18 is 83, so a is 65. So this is the 65 points. Okay? So how many points did Team A score during the games? And we won 65 points. All right, let's go to number 8. Solve the equation for the indicated variable. And this is what everybody get confused, even though it's not too much to solve this problem. You have v equals 1/3 AH. Now we care for A, so we don't care for H. We have to move the H here, and we care to move also the 1/3 because I want A by itself. So the best thing to get rid of that 3, multiply both sides by 3. If you multiply both sides by 3, this 3 will cancel. So now we have AH equals 3V. We don't care about AH, we care about A. Let's divide both sides by H. And therefore A now, which is by itself, is 3V over H. That's the final answer. 3V over H. A equals 3V over H. So C is the answer. Let's try number 9. Solve the inequality. Now to solve this inequality, we have to make sure multiply this 3 first by both terms inside the parentheses. So we have a negative, let's try it again here. Okay, so we have negative 5x plus 4 is greater than 3 times 4, 12, 3 times negative x, negative 3x. Now again, I like to move the x to this side, the 4 to this side, so let's add 3x to both sides. To move the 4 to the right, we need to add the opposite, negative 4, add negative 4 to both sides. So minus 5x plus 3x is negative 2x, 4 minus 4 cancels, is greater than 12 minus 4 is 8. These will cancel. One more step, we need to get x by itself. Let's divide both sides by negative 2, flip the symbol, divide both sides by negative 2. Remember, when we divide or multiply by a negative number, we gotta flip the inequality symbol. And so x would be less than negative 4. Final answer. So here we have to write in inequality x such that x less than negative 4. Okay? So x such that x less than negative 4. And that's what we got here, right? We got x less than negative 4. All right, let's try the next problem here. Number 10. Find the degree of the following polynomial. Determine whether it's a monomial, binomial, trinomial, or none of these. Now notice that this is 5, this is 4, this is 3, and this is x to the power 0, which is 0. So none of them can be combined. So these 4 terms are going to stay 4 terms. So it's not a binomial, it's not a trinomial, it's not a trinomial, it's a none of these. Now the degree is the highest exponent, that's 5. Degree of this polynomial is the highest exponent of z in this case, and it's 5, so B is the answer. Write the number in standard form. So we have to move the decimal 4 digits to the left. If you move it to the right, you're making the number 2.19 times 10 to the minus 4, you're making it a bigger number. It has to be a very small number, that 2.19, because it is multiplied by 10 to the minus 4. So let's see if we can solve this problem. So 2.19 times 10 to the minus 4 is the same as 2.19 divided by 10 to the power 4. Remember, we can move the negative to the denominator. It is 2.19 divided by 4 zeros, because 10 to the power 4. So that number is going to be very, very small number. So there is no way we're going to move the decimal to the right. We have to move the decimal to the left 4 digits. So I just add zeros. And then I go 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's the answer. So it is 0.30219. So I need 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 219, and that's D. Number 12. Multiply. So we're going to multiply negative 11x times negative. So negative times negative is positive. 11 times 6, 66. X times x is x squared because we add the exponents. 1 plus 1 is 2. So which one has 66x squared? This or this? Now we need to multiply negative 11x times plus 8. That's a negative 88x. And this one has the 88x. So that's it. So again, negative times negative is positive. 11 times 6, 66. X times x, x squared. Then you have negative times positive is negative. 11 times 8, 88, and then x. Let's try number 13. Okay, most of students, they square the 7x, 49x squared. They square the 12, 144. But that's not the right answer. The right answer should be by foiling 7x minus 12 times 7x minus 12. Let's do that. When you square something, you got to multiply it by itself, right? If you square x, you're going to say if you have x squared, this is x times x. In this case, you're squaring this, so you have to multiply it by itself. So 7 times 7, 49. X times x, x squared. Now we're going to do the outer and the inner. The outer, 7 times 12, is at 82x. So 7 times 2, 14. That's a 4. 7 times 1, 7, and 1, 8. That's an 8, and then x. So that's going to be minus 84, and then minus 84 again for this one. And then negative 12 times negative 12 is plus 144. So all we have to do, these are like terms. So that would be 49x squared, 84 plus 84, 168. It's a negative. Plus 144. These are not like terms, cannot be combined. That's the final answer. Minus 168x plus 144, first one. Again, we have to FOIL. X times x, x squared. So all of them have x squared except c. So c is gone. Minus 6xy minus 4xy, that's negative 10xy. Negative 10xy, negative 10xy, negative 10xy. Good. The last one is negative 4y times negative 6y. That's going to be plus 24y squared. Plus 24y squared is this one. So this one would be x squared. Okay. Minus or plus 24y squared. And then the middle is minus 6 minus 4 minus 10. So that's D. Number 15. Perform the division. So here we have to split this into 3 fractions. Let's do that. We got to split this into 3 fractions. So we have 18x squared over 6x plus 24x over 6x minus 13 over 6x. So the good part about this, we cannot do anything about it, so this will stay as is. For here, 18 divided by 6 is 3. X squared divided by x, we subtract 2 minus 1 is 1. So that's x. Here, 24 divided by 6 is 4. X and x cancel. And then we have 13 over 6x, which is nothing we can do about it. So which one is the answer? This one. So 3x plus 4 minus 13 over 6x. Next question. Factor the 4-term polynomial by grouping. Okay, let's try to factor. To factor by grouping, we're going to do like 3 steps. So let's go ahead and factor. We look at the first two, x cubed plus 7x squared. What's the common factor? Here we have x times x times x. Here we have x times x. So only 2x are common, so that's going to be x squared is the common factor. What's left from the first term? X squared times what? Will give me x cubed. How about x to the power 1? Because 2 plus 1 is 3. X squared times what? Will give me 7x squared. Already we have the 7x squared, so we're missing the 7. Plus, notice here we just have x plus 7. There is no common factor. If there is no common factor, we always take 1. So let's take 1 outside. Does not make any difference. But notice now we have x plus 7. We have x plus 7. So this is my new common factor. And what is left from the first term? X squared. Plus, what is left from the second term? If I take x plus 7, that's 1. Final answer, x squared plus 1, x plus 7. So you can interchange the order because multiplication is commutative. X squared plus 1, x plus 7, A is the answer. Let's try the next one. Simplify the expression. All we have to do factor, factor, and then simplify. Okay, let's try to do this one. How do you factor? Here you have 8 common factor. So take 8 outside. What's left inside? X minus y. Because 8x minus 8y. And the second one, 8 into y minus x. 8 into y minus x. And therefore, 8 and 8 will cancel. But notice these are opposite. If you have 5 over negative 5, that's a negative 1. So let me show you why. X minus y over, take minus as common factor here. So that's going to be minus y plus x. Remember, if you distribute the minus, you get y minus x. So we didn't change anything. But then this is equal to x minus y over x minus y. So now, remember we have a 1 here, a 1 here. So these will cancel. What's 1 over negative 1? That's a negative 1. So that whole thing can be simplified to negative 1. Let's try number 18. Solve the equation. Now to solve a trinomial, we have to factor first and then use the zero property to solve for x. Okay, so we have 4x squared minus 3x minus 7. Notice we have solutions, so this can be factored. So the first thing I do, I open 4 parentheses. How do we get 4x squared? Well, we have 2 options, 2x times 2x, or we have 4x times 1x. I don't know, I can take anything. Since I have a small number in the middle, let's see. Okay, I see it, I'm going to use 4x. But you can use 2x times 2x, you see it's not going to work. But I'm not going to put the 7 against the 4 because that's going to give me negative 28. I'm going to put the 7 here, and I'm going to put the 1 here. Okay, so 4x times x, that's going to give me 4x squared. And then 7 times 1, that's going to give me 7. I still have the middle term. Let me try the outer and the inner. The outer is 4x. And the inner is 7x, okay? But I need negative 3x. So if I add these two, I get 11. If I subtract, I get 3x. To get negative 3x, if I put negative 7 plus 4, and then add, that's how I get negative 3x. So I need to get negative 7x plus 4x, okay? And I'm done. Now, multiplying 2 numbers equal to 0, the only time you multiply 2 numbers, you get a 0, is one of the numbers should be 0. So if 4x minus 7 equals 0, add 7, and then divide by 4. So x would be 7 over 4. If x plus 1 equals 0, then subtract 1 from both sides. X would be negative 1. So 7 over 4 and negative 1, that's A. 7 over 4, negative 1 is the answer. Let's try number 19. Perform the indicated operation, simplify if possible. So here are two fractions. Those two fractions are not like fractions. They don't have the same denominator. So we're going to work on something that has the same denominator. So 21 is 3 times 7, and 7x is 7 times x. Notice I have the same 7, so I take it one time, but then I have to have 3x. So 3 times 7 times x, that's going to be 21x. That's the lowest common denominator. To go from 21 to 21x, I need to multiply by x. Let me multiply negative 4 by x. Negative 4x. To go from 7x to 21x, I need to multiply this by 3. Let's multiply the negative 7 by 3. I guess that's the final answer. I cannot do anything. Negative 4x, negative 21 over 21x. That's A again. Number 20. A painter can finish painting a house in 8 hours. Her assistant takes 10 hours to finish the same job. How long would it take them to complete the job if they are working together? Okay, so that's a typical problem where we have to do per hour. A painter can finish painting a job in 8 hours. In 1 hour, they can finish 1/8 of the job. Okay, this one is not working. Let me get rid of it. Okay. All right. Let's try this one. Okay, so a painter can finish the job. He can paint the whole house, let's say, in 8 hours. In 1 hour, he'll paint 1/8 of the house. The assistant takes 10 hours to finish the same job. So in 1 hour, she will finish 1/10 of the job. Now let's say X hours is the time taken to finish the job when they're working together. Therefore, in 1 hour, it will take them 1 over X. Okay, let's do it again. If it takes the whole job to finish the job is 8 hours, right? In 1 hour, it would be 1/8 of the job is done. If it takes 10 hours to finish the whole job, in 1 hour, 1/10 of the job. So these now they're working together. You know, in 1 hour, they're going to do 1/8 plus 1/10. But let's assume X hours is the time taken for them to finish the whole job. In 1 hour, they're going to finish 1 over X. Okay, let's simplify the fractions. Multiply everything by the lowest common denominator, which is 8, 10x. Now, we can do 80x, but I think we can do a simple number. If you do 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. 10 is 2 times 5. So we can use only 1, 2 here. So, okay. So it would be 8 times 5, 40. 40 times x. So let's try 40x for the lowest common denominator. Multiply everything by 40x. See what happens. 40x, 40 by 8 is 5x. 40 by 10 is 10x. Huh. 40 divided by 10 is 4. Okay. And let's do it again. 40 divided by 8 is 5. And 40 divided by 10 is 4. And then we have the x. But 40x divided by x, the x will cancel and we get 40. So 5 plus 4 is 9x. And therefore x would be 40 over 9. Okay, 40 over 9. Let's change this to a mixed number. 40 divided by 9 is 4 times 9, 36. 36 remainder is 4 over 9. So it takes them 4 and 4 nines to finish the job. And that must be less than 8 because they're working together. It should be less than 8. So 4 and 4 over 9 is the answer. Let's try 21. Simplify the radical. Okay, let's try to simplify this radical. Again, this is not working for some reason. Let me see. Okay. All right, let's try the second one. So we have to simplify the radical. We have 20. What is 20? 2 times 2 times 5. What is x squared? Well, it's x times x, and we have y. So anything that is repeating will simplify or go outside the radical. This is 4, square root of 4 would be 2, and x squared will go outside as x, y, and 5, they will stay inside because they're not perfect squares. So all the perfect square will come out as 2x in this case, and we're stuck with 5y inside the radical. So it will be 2x square root of 5y. D is the answer. 22. Rationalize. What do we mean by rationalize? To rationalize a denominator, we have to remove the radical from the denominator. Notice that 121 is a perfect square, and this is equal to square root of 120. You can split the radical into two radicals when you have division. So this is equal to 11 over square root of 5, right? Because the square root of 121 is 11 times 11, 121. Now to rationalize, we need to multiply up and down by square root of 5 in this case. The reason for that, and you will see in a second, if you multiply here, you're going to get 11 square root of 5. But in the denominator, you multiply the inside because they're both radicals. You end up with square root of 25. But what is square root of 25? That's just 5. And now you see we have removed the radical from the denominator. So why I chose square root of 5? Because that's going to make it square root of 25. Square root of 25 is a perfect square, and that would simplify my radical. So 11 square root of 5 over 5 is D. D is the answer. Okay, name the quadrant or axis in which the point lies. X is negative, Y positive. Quadrant 2. Let me show you. So, again, X is negative. Let me show you if I plot this point, negative 15 plus 19. So negative 15, 19 is in the second quadrant. This is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. And this is in quadrant 2. Okay? All right, so let's move on. 25, simplify. Okay, we got to simplify the parentheses. Multiplication first, then addition. 5 times 3, 15. Let's go ahead and do it here. So always try to, in this case, simplify the parentheses first. So again, multiplication goes first, and then addition. 15 plus 40 is 55. And then we have divided by 5. Now we have addition, we have division. Which one goes first? Division. Let's divide. 55 by 5 is 11. So divide 55 divided by 5 is 11. And then 11, we just have to add it to 18, and that would be 29. Final answer, right? Okay, do we have a 29? Yes, 29. Number 25. Another, okay, I see this is, okay, let's try to do this one. Simplifying an expression. Well, I can do brackets, parentheses first, so let's go ahead and rewrite this. Let's finish the brackets, because I can do the 8 minus 4 is 4, plus 7, that's 11. So now I can remove the bracket. So simplifying this whole bracket was not a big deal, because I can do the parentheses first. 8 minus 4, that's 4, plus 7, 11, and then I can remove the whole brackets. Now here I have a minus. What's 6 minus 4? 2 cube. 2 times 2 times 2, 8. So that's an 8. And then I have a minus outside, so that's a minus 8. Okay? So 6 minus 4 is 2, 2 to the power 3 is 8, and then I have a minus sign. So now I have to 22 minus 11 is 11 minus 8. 11 minus 8 is 3. Right? I can subtract these two first. And then 11 minus 8 is 3, and D is the answer. Let's try number 26. Name the property. Now this is property. You have 1 plus 5 plus 6. 5 plus 1 plus 6. Notice the order has changed. If this was associative property, it would be 1 plus 5 plus 6 and then 1 plus 5 plus 6. The order of parentheses will change. But now you notice that the order of the number changed. So that's a commutative property. Let's see. So you have 1 plus 5 plus 6. To be associative, this should be 1 plus 5 plus 6. Notice the numbers are in the same order, 1, 5, 6. This would be associative property. We only switch the parentheses. This is not the case here. The case here is 1 plus 5 plus 6 and 5 plus 1 plus 6. See, we changed the order. 1 plus 5 is 5 plus 1. So this is commutative property for addition. Commutative property of addition. So that would be B. B is the answer. Commutative property for addition. Distributive property would be something like this. 6 times 1 plus 5 equals, you multiply 6 plus 30, right? This is distributive property. Additive inverse property. 6 plus 0 equals 0 plus 6. Or 6 plus 0 equals 6, right? That's called the additive inverse. Oh, this is additive inverse. 6 plus the opposite equals 0. So any number you add to its opposite, that's called the additive inverse property, 0. Okay? This is the identity element. When you add 6 to the identity element, you get the number itself. That's the identity element. Okay, let's go to the next one. 27. Simplify the expression. Okay, that's a good one. Let's try to do this one. So 6r cubed. Let's do power to power. 2 times negative 4, negative 8. Over power to power 4 times negative 5, negative 20. Okay? Equals. Alright, we can switch around if you want to, or we can just add 3 plus negative 8 is negative 5. Negative 8 plus 3, negative 5. And here we have 5r to the negative 20. Now we can subtract numerator minus denominator. When you divide, you subtract numerator minus denominator. So this would be 6 over 5 or negative 5 minus negative 20, right? Because when you divide, you subtract. So the final answer would be 6 over 5, negative 5 plus 20. That would be 15. Final answer. So negative negative becomes positive. 20 minus 5, 15. 6r15 over 5. 6r15 over 5. That's A. Perform the indicated operation. Simplify if possible. Okay. Here we need to factor first and then try to simplify before we multiply. Okay. So common factor, we have x times x, we have 7x, so x is a common factor here. We're left with x minus 7 over x minus 3. The nice part here, we have the same denominator. Beautiful. 12 over x minus 3. Okay. So notice we cannot simplify here. But what we can do, well, we didn't need to factor this. Let's bring it back as it is. So x squared minus 7x. Now we need to add the 12 because we have the same denominator. We don't have to change anything. Just add the numerator. But now we can factor. The product is 12 and the sum is negative 7. What are the two numbers? 4 and 3, right? So that would be x minus 4, x minus 3. over x minus 3. Remember, the product is 12 and the sum is negative 7. The numbers must be negative 4 times negative 3. Their product is 12, their sum is negative 7. Now these will cancel. Hopefully x does not equal to 3, right? And the x minus 4 is the final answer, B. 29, add or subtract. So let's add these two radicals. Let's try to add these two radicals. We have to simplify them first. What is 48? 48 is 16 times 3, right? 3 times 6, 18, 3 times 1. So 16 is a perfect square, will come out as 4. So that would be 4 square root of 3 plus 147. Well, that's a tricky one. Let's see if we can simplify this. 7 plus 4, 11. 11 plus 1, 12. So that's divisible by 3. 14 divided by 3 is 4. 27 divided by 3 is 9. And that's 3. So that's a good thing. 49 is a perfect square. This will come out as 7. So that's going to be 7 square root of 3. So 4 apples plus 7 apples, that's 11 apples. We're done. So 11 square root of 3 is the final answer. 30. Alright, this is a nice one. All we have to do, add the, simplify, write the result using positive exponents. So when we multiply, we add. We don't multiply, right? The exponents. So make sure to add the exponents. Okay? And then if it's negative, we've got to put it in the denominator. Negative 7 plus negative 7, negative 14. Plus negative 4, negative 18. Plus 0, negative 18. Here there is a 1. That's a negative 17. And the answer would be 1 over m to the 17. Let's try again. So m to the power. Let's add all these. Negative 7 plus negative 7 plus negative 4 plus 0. And then this is m to the power 1. That's a 1. So negative 7 plus negative 7 is negative 14. Plus negative 4, negative 18. Plus 1, negative 17. But we want positive exponents, so we put it in the denominator as 1 over 70, m to the power 17. And that's a D. Let's go to number 31. Solve the inequality. So to solve this inequality, all we have to do is subtract 8x, and then let's try to do this one. So here we have 4x minus 5 less than 8x plus 15. Subtract 8x. This way you move the x to the left. And then add 5 to both sides. This way you move the negative 5 to the right. So now we have 4x minus 8x is negative 4x. These will cancel. Less than. These will cancel. 15 plus 5, 20. Now we need to divide both sides by negative 4, flip the symbol, divide by negative 4. So x would be greater than negative 5. X such that x greater than negative 5. Next, use the point shown on the graph to find the slope of the line. Okay, so we start from this point. We go down, rise, over, run. Okay, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going down, that's a negative 4. Over 1, 2, 3. Going to the right, that's a positive 3. So negative 4 over 3 is the slope. Now the slope is, now let's see. Select, simplify, type an integer or a fraction. So negative 4 over 3 is a fraction. Let's do it one more time. Start from this point. Let's go down. Let's rise. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going down. That's a negative 4. Let's go to the run now. 1, 2, 3. That's a plus 3. So negative 4 over 3 is the rise over the run and the slope of the line. Let's go to the next one. Graph the linear equation by finding and plotting its intercept. Okay, let's go ahead and we want to find the intercept. So let's plot take the vertical line or the line as the line tool. For y equals 0, negative x equals 10, or x equals negative 10. That's x equals negative 10 here. That's the x-intercept. For x equals 0, 2y equals 10, then y equals 5. That would be 5. And we're done. That's it. That's all what we have to do. So again, to find the intercept, put x equals 0, then y would be 10 over 2, 5. This point is 0, 5. To find the x-intercept, put y equals 0. This whole thing becomes 0. Negative x equals 10, but we want x. Multiply both sides by negative 1. You get x equals negative 10. So that's x equals negative 10. Number 34. Graph the linear equation. Every time we have an x equals a constant, that's a vertical line. So now we're going to pick also the line, but now it's a vertical line. So x equals 7 here, and then we can take another 7 here. That's it. So x equals 7 is a vertical line. It's always equals 7. Any value of y here is 5, x is 7. Y here is 0, x is 7. Y here is negative 8, x is 7. Number 35. Subtract. Okay, we're going to distribute that minus sign, change the sign inside that parentheses, and then combine like terms. So we have 6x plus 7 minus would be plus 2x squared minus plus 5x minus plus is negative 7. So now we have 2x squared, that's the only term with x squared, but then we have 6x plus 5x, that's 11x, and then we have 7 minus 7, that's 0. Final answer, 2x squared plus 11x. So that would be 2x squared minus 11x. Final answer. Making sure I copied this right, 2x squared plus 11x. Because I have 6x, okay, that should be a plus. So that should be a plus. Okay, let's go to number 36. A solution strength of 5 milligram of medicine in 1 milliliter of solution is available. If a patient needs 8 milligram, how many milliliter do you administer? So that would be a proportion. Okay, let's make sure we know how to do proportion. Okay, we don't need this one, let's take this one. Okay. So here, all right, so we need to do proportion for this problem, and let me show you how to do this. So we have 5 milligrams over 1 milliliter equals 8 milligram over x milliliters. So we have 8 milligram over x milliliters. Okay, so we have to be consistent. Milligram, milliliter, milligram, milliliters. We can cross multiply. So cross multiply. 5x equals 8 times 1, 8. But we want x, so divide both sides by 5. This implies x equals 8 over 5 or 1.6, right? Because 8 divided by 5 is 1, remainder is 3, 30 by 5 is 6. So C is the answer. Let's try number 37. 20% of the students in a school are male. If there are 840 students altogether, how many students are male? So 20% of 840 would be 0.2 times 840. So 2 times 4, 8, 2 times 8, 16. Is it 164 or 160? Let me see. 168. So all you have to do is multiply 20% times 840 or 0.2 times 840. So the point and the 0 will cancel. 2 times 4, 8. 2 times 8, 16. 168. Evaluate. We just did this one, so let's skip it. Okay, here we have to do also the same. Add 21 plus 23, that's a 44, right? Or you can do 21 minus 19, that's a 2 plus 23, 25. And then 25 minus 14. 25 minus 14, is that an 11? Okay, so now we can do 40. Okay, solve the equation. We have to multiply everything by the lowest common denominator, which is 10. Let's try this one. So multiply everything by 10. The 10 will cancel, so you end up with 7x. 10 times divided by 5 is 2. 2 times 4 is 8. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6x. Subtract 6x from both sides. Subtract 8 from both sides. So that would be x equals negative 8. Final answer. That would be C. Alright, let's try a couple more. Plot the intercept of the graph for y equals 0, x equals 6. So x equals 6 for y equals 0, and for x equals 0, y would be 2. And that would be the graph. Vertical line, it's a vertical line at x equals 6. Use the slope-intercept form to graph the equation. 7x minus 4y. So we need to change this one to slope-intercept. Let's do that. We have 7x minus 4y equals negative 12. So we need to move the 7x. So let's subtract 7x from both sides. So that would be negative 4y equals negative 7x. Negative 12. These will cancel. Divide everything by negative 4. So you get y equals negative 7 over negative 4 would be 7 over 4x. Negative 12 over negative 4, that would be plus 3. So we have y equals 7 4x plus 3. Plot the y-intercept. Go up 7, down right 4, and you'll be done. So let's plot this. Plot the 1, 2, 3. Go up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. And make sure I'm doing this right. So we plot the y-intercept as 3. Go up 7, right 4. That's what I did. Plot 3. Go up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up 7, right 4, and that's it. Save. Okay, that should be good for now, and I wish you all the best.